So here is what I have learned over the last 6 years of consciously practicing witchcraft, and also some of the things I wish I knew earlier. And I really hope that this video is helpful to you and it can inspire you to find your own unique witchy path. But as you probably know, for these types of videos, I love to give you a quick disclaimer because everything that I'm about to share is based on my own personal experiences, and it is what is resonating true for me. So there is no right or wrong, and there is no right or wrong to walk your witchy path. So listen to what I'm sharing here, but only take what resonates with you and leave out the rest, because in the end, it is all about your own unique witchcraft practice. And so with that being said, let's take a look at what my practice used to look like a few years ago and how it has changed. So I remember when I first started to consciously get into witchcraft and studying all the knowledge, I did a lot of trial and error. I tried out so many different things, and part of it was the tarot. I felt so called by the tarot and I loved it. It was this natural pull towards the tarot. My mother had a deck, so I feel like this is also why I was called to try out the tarot for myself. And I studied the tarot cards every single day. I woke up early to study the meaning before my studies and before work. And so this was a big part of my practice for a very long time. I loved the tarot, I loved divination magic in general. And so this was a big part of my practice for I think 4 or 5 years. But to be honest, after a while, I got into this really unhealthy habit because I started relying way too much on divination magic and the tarot cards. And I would pull a tarot card for important life decisions, and I started to realize after I was able to read the tarot and practicing it for so many years that I was super reliant on it. And so I did not really want to rely on something external so much anymore. And I remember how I had this wake-up moment after I pulled a card for an important decision, and I was like, what did you do? Why did you do that? Why didn't you listen to your own intuition? Because I used to be really good at reading for other people, but when it came to my own readings, I was not good at it. And so I completely misinterpreted this card, which led to a not so good decision. And this is when I had my realization. But looking back, the tarot still was a big part of who I am today, because it was a gateway to my most authentic self. I started to realize that I need to cultivate my own intuition, that I need to start learning to trust myself and my intuition again. So this was a big gateway into this whole realization that I'm still really grateful for. Now, not only was I super focused on the tarot in the beginning of my practice, I again did a lot of trial and error. I also tried out pendulums and other forms of divination magic, but nothing really resonated with me. It felt not exciting to me and not right to me. And I also got into astrology a few years later. I think it was around 2021 that I started my astrology training. And this is something that is super dear to me. I still do astrology to this day. And again, it was a big part of me as a witch, who I am today. It was a big catalyst. So yeah, this was kind of the beginning of my witchcraft practice. And even though I don't do the divination magic anymore, again, it taught me a super big lesson, because I learned to start cultivating my own intuition again, to rely on my own intuition again, rather than trying to find something in the external world and like listening to other voices. I was really drawn back to myself, to my inner voice, which I'm so grateful for, because I always say that your intuition is your biggest superpower as a witch. But yeah, it was exciting times back in the day. And I think tarot was super popular around this time. And so I feel like many people got into witchcraft because suddenly tarot popped up everywhere. But again, still grateful for this time of my life. Okay, so the second thing that I wanted to talk about is the reason why I was so drawn to witchcraft. And I started out with witchcraft because I wanted to take my power back. Like, I remember when I started out studying about witchcraft and like tarot and all these different kind of things, I started to feel a sense of empowerment and like an inner voice that said, like, finally we are doing this, finally we are getting our power back. And I think a lot of witches start there, right? We begin our practice because we want to take our powers back. We want to start creating a life that we love and do that consciously. And so I was never really into boring old school manifestation, and I was really drawn to all like the magic and the mystical. And so witchcraft and consciously creating a life by like doing the magic, it felt so whimsical, and it was just such an aha moment for me, because like these normal manifestation techniques never really worked for me in the long run. And so again, finding out about witchcraft was like this door that opened to me, like realizing I can create my own life, I can create my own little spider web, and like direct my life into a direction that is more in alignment with who I truly am. And I feel like right now we are seeing another rise in witches and people in general who want to take their power back, who want to start living as their most authentic self, and yeah, just not rely on a system anymore that tries to control and suppress them and make them unhealthy, right? People want to start living authentically again and claim their power back. And I feel like it has always been like this in history, when the crown or like the system did not support the general people anymore. You could see a rise in like healers and other people who try to help like the community. And I feel like we are at this point again right now. So when I first started out with witchcraft, I was really trying to get my power back. And I think this was one of the reasons why I stuck with witchcraft, because I wanted to claim my power back and embody my most authentic self. But over the years, this reason for staying on the witchy path shifted a little bit, because I went from how can I get my power back to how can I be of service? How can I share something that maybe helps other people and other witches become their most authentic self again and believe in their own magic again? So I feel like I shifted from my own magic and cultivating my own magic to, okay, now how can I share it? And I feel like this is such a natural process. Like when people like are at a certain point and they claim their power back, they embody their most authentic self, so many I know, they then start to share how to become your most authentic self and how to embody this most magical version of yourself. So again, I feel like this process was super important to become the witch I am today, to be honest. So now my focus is a lot on how can I help other people become their most magical self, and that is such a Virgo thing. So I'm a Virgo rising and I just love doing things that may help people, but I also want to help people remember how good nature is. And if you watched my last video, you saw how I was walking into Hansel and Gretel's hideaway and like asking for permission to enter, because I know we are not the only ones like living on this planet, right? There is like beings that we may not see every single day, but they are there. And also that we need to start living in alignment with nature again. So I told the trees like just the other day that I really do my best to make people remember how beautiful you guys are and how magical, and that we can always communicate with you and rely on you. So my mission kind of changed, and again, I feel like this is such a natural process of many witches that at least I know, but I'm really grateful for, in the beginning, like starting out by reclaiming my power, because this is such an important part of becoming a witch and like being a person in this time and age. Okay, something else I clearly remember is the frustration with the research that I experienced in the beginning. So I remember when I started out like doing all the research, I was so confused, because it really is like you are opening up a Pandora's box. If you are doing research about a certain topic, suddenly 10 different other topics pop up and you are like, okay, well, I understood this one, but now there is 10 more that I need to study. And I tried to study everything right away. I wanted to know everything right now. So I studied like witchcraft, the different kinds of witches and what's like included in these different types of magic, and Wicca and paganism and the occult. And I was just getting frustrated because I was just confused. Let's be honest, I was confused by the sheer amount of information that I tried to inhale every single day. But honestly, over time, I really started to love that part of my day. The research, the studying, the sitting down with a pen and a piece of paper and like writing my new findings out onto the paper, and like doing all the research about herbology and astrology and folklore and old traditions and customs. And I really started to love it. And now, especially in autumn and winter, my evenings take a certain rhythm. So I will sit down, light a candle, have a cup of tea and just do research. And trust me, yes, it is confusing in the beginning, but you will start to see the bigger picture eventually. It's like finding the little puzzle pieces and putting them together. So in the beginning, there is just so much you need to understand and learn. But when you are like researching a lot and you are studying a lot, eventually you will remember what you learned like a day ago or like a month ago, a year ago, and then everything starts to get back together and you will have so much fun even getting more knowledge. And again, that's a Virgo speaking. I love studying, but yeah, don't give up. It is confusing, but you will eventually get there. Okay, another thing I did in the beginning of my witchcraft practice, and I have talked about this before, is labeling myself, because when I started out with witchcraft, I thought I had to label myself. And it really seemed like everybody on the internet had figured out what type of witch they are. Like they were green witches and kitchen witches and tarot witches, and I was super lost because I really thought that I needed to put a label on myself to belong to a certain group or community. And like I have always been like this. I have always been interested in many different things, and like I cannot really stuck to one thing. And so I was just getting again frustrated because I thought I will never belong somewhere, I will never find like my kind of witchcraft. And so yeah, another trap that I feel like many beginner witches fall into, because they feel like they need to belong to a certain category and like put a label on themselves. But I can now tell you that you don't need to. Additionally to my kind of frustration with what kind of witch am I then, I also was in a really big who am I as a person phase. So I feel like this kind of contributed to the confusion and the frustration, because I was just having this huge update, like in general in my whole life, and I was going through a crisis back then, like a crisis of why suddenly do I not like this anymore? It was like part of my life for 25 years. What is happening? And so I feel like all of this kind of made this mixture of I don't know who I am anymore, and not knowing what kind of witch I am and what type of witch I want to embody did not really help. But what it really taught me is that I don't have to put myself in a box. And it took me a few years to really understand it, but I started to understand that I don't need to label myself or put myself into a certain category. And I started to embrace all of my different interests and really bringing them together, like pulling all of the strings and creating this huge ball of what I am. And now when I look back at this time, it was like a really confusing time, but I'm so grateful that I went through it, because now I know that I can be whoever I want to be. I can like different kinds of magic and embody all of that. So if you are at a same point, like, don't be frustrated, start to embrace all of your different interests and talents and kinds of magic, because this is really when the magic happens and when you will start to attract people, because you start to embody your most authentic self. And this is actually what pulls people into your life, when you show up as who you truly are, because they become inspired. And again, I'm grateful that I went through all of this confusion. Okay, so another thing I remember, and I think I talked about this before as well, but when I started out actually getting into witchcraft and consciously practicing it, I thought that I needed to do these extensive spells, like the spells that would take days or even weeks, and that I would have to go out into like the graveyard and collect soil at midnight on this full moon. And I was really frustrated because I did not resonate with that. Like, I am really impatient, and like sitting there with a spell for days or even weeks, it's like not really working for me. And like also going to all of this extent of like finding ingredients that are hard to get, like the graveyard soil or something, I was frustrated because I thought, like, what is wrong with me? Why do I not like this? And again, this may be super powerful for other people and really works for them, which is completely fine. If this is your cup of tea, stick with it, because this is actually what makes your magic work. But it was not my cup of tea. And so I, over the time, over many years, just realized that I prefer simple magic, and also I'm not trying to make this extensive spell, but rather I love incorporating little acts of magic in my daily life. And this is just what works for me, because I need to do things over and over again and like daily, so I don't forget about them. And this is to me bringing more magic than like sitting down once a month at this full moon trying to do this extensive spell and probably just forgetting about it. So this is what works for me. Again, find your own way of doing your spells and rituals and finding your ingredients, collecting them, buying them, whatever works for you. Don't feel like you have to do anything just because it works for another person, because in the end it's your unique witchcraft practice and you should honor this. And I also, in this regards, realized that I in the beginning was really frustrated, and I was super frustrated probably when I started out with witchcraft, now that I say frustrated for like the 10th time. But when I was starting out, I tried to force myself to do like magic and sit down, do this spell or ritual, and like even though I felt not good or I was tired or something like that. And now I know that it can actually be more counterproductive if you try to force yourself to do something instead of like sitting down when you feel really good and do that spell. This will be more effective than like trying to force yourself down every single day doing something that you don't want to do. So this is again something I learned, like doing the magic when I feel my best version, and like my cycle really reflects this as well. Like I have times when I'm like super outward and like outgoing, and then I have phases where I don't want to talk or do anything. And this is everything that I learned over the years, and I'm now integrating it into my practice. I'm honoring my own cycles. And so yeah, another thing that you should always honor your own feelings, emotions, and don't do magic when you don't feel like doing it, because it can actually be more harmful. Okay, I feel like this may even be the biggest mistake that I did in the beginning, and it is to not know how to manipulate energy. So I would buy all of these books and tools, spend all of that money because I thought I can just sit down, do my spell or ritual, and then everything is manifesting for me exactly how I imagine it. Well, turns out this is not how it is working, because if you watched my guide to spell work video, you know that if you don't know how to manipulate energy, your magic will probably not work how you want it to. Like it will not have this big magical effect in your life, because directing your energy, manipulating your energy is actually what is charging your spells and rituals and tools and ingredients. And releasing energy is actually what is like putting out that spell into the world. So this is something I really wish I knew earlier. I found it really hard to find books in German about this. So anyway, I study everything in English nowadays because I feel like it's easier to get good content in English, or like good knowledge in English. But yeah, I found it really hard to find information about that. And then I learned this and I was like, wait, this is probably the reason why my magic is not working. And so if you don't know how to manipulate energy, I created a video that you can watch right here. And it's like a really easy exercise where you learn how to guide your energy. Again, I should learn to breathe between talking, but you will actually learn to guide your energy. And this is how you work with your energy and your magic in a spell or ritual. Because imagine putting a pot on your oven but not turning the oven on. Nothing is working, right? Nothing will boil or cook. And it's the exact same thing with your energy, with energy manipulation in witchcraft, that I feel like not many people know about, and that is why so many spells and rituals don't work for them. Okay, so another confession time. But when I started doing the conscious witchcraft in the beginning, I bought all of these fancy tools and again books, and I really thought that they work much better than anything I could ever do. This was such an expensive time of my life, so I really hope when you are on the beginning of your witchy path and you see this, you now know that you don't have to spend tons of money in like witchy tools or anything, because I am such a perfectionist and I feel like when I create something and it's not perfect, I get frustrated. Again, we were a frustrated witch in the beginning, but I will think it's like not working, it's not good enough, like how can I ever use this in my practice? And let's be honest, what is perfect anyways? I feel like no matter what artist you ask about their art, they will find something that they don't like. Like I never met anyone who truly loved like their art, or like not loved their art, but said their art is perfect, like 100% it's perfect. They said this little brush stroke is like not where it's supposed to be. So I am this kind of person, and I'm actively working on that to like get rid of this perfectionism. And it's good to a certain degree, don't get me wrong, but like always questioning yourself. And with Lilith in the 5th house, I have such a big wound when it comes to my self-expression and like my creative endeavors, I don't know how you say it, and like actually creating something. I always feel like it's not good enough. And now honestly, I have been loving crafting my own magical tools and like coming up with own ideas how I could craft my witchcraft practice to make it more individual, and I am really loving it. So if you are a beginner witch, you don't need all of these tools. You could sit down today and do magic. You don't need anything, to be honest. And like, again, watch my guide to spell work video because I explain everything super detailed in there. But yeah, I really wish I understood this in the beginning, but I feel like, again, everything that I went through in the beginning was such a big learning process to become the witch that I am now. And now I'm starting to put out my creations and like my videos and just having fun creating and doing the magic. And comment down below if you also have Lilith in your 5th house, because I know that this is such a big wound when it comes to your creativity, to your self-expression. You always question yourself in everything that you do or create, but know that you are not alone. And if you work through it, then it is such a relief and you can finally start to express yourself. And this is, I feel like, such a big gift. Now, another thing that I had to learn for many years is that I can walk my witchy path in my own speed. So, for example, in the beginning when I started out with witchcraft, and if you hear little tabby taps, that's Bella. She wants to play. But I want to film this video so I can put it out tomorrow. Again, when I started out with witchcraft, I felt like that I will never be ready to work with the good people or like a goddess like Hecate or other elemental beings. And now slowly I started to work with them, and I feel like this is so important. If you don't feel ready to work with an entity, if you don't feel called to work with a god or goddess or like another being like the good people, then don't do it. Like, I feel like if they want to work with you, they will call out to you and you will feel and hear this call, but don't push yourself to work with them, because this again can be even more harmful to you than anything else. And I feel like the more you learn, the more you understand about these beings, you will know if it is like now the time for you to work with them. But I wish I knew this earlier. I feel like not a lot of people talk about it. And I think only Hearth Witch talked about this, and she was like, the good people, like if you are not ready to work with demons, don't work with the good people, I think is what she said, if I remember correctly. And I feel like this is when it clicked for me, like everybody has to be ready to work with them and they will feel it and like call out to you. For example, Hecate called out to me and I knew that now is the time to start researching her. So don't pressure yourself if you don't feel ready to work with anything like outside of your regular practice, in quotes. If you never feel called to working with any of them, you don't have to. Again, it's your practice. Make it individual and unique to you, and you don't owe anything, like any explanation, to anyone except yourself. I hope this made sense, because right now I am really in a flow. That's good. Okay, so now let's talk about how my practice actually looks like right now. And again, it may change in the future. I may stumble upon another chapter of my witchcraft practice that pulls me in, and that is totally fine. I started to be open to change, and like whatever wants to come into my life as a witch, I will see if it resonates with me and then like accept it or not. But again, I 100% started relying on my own intuition. I stopped using external divination tools because I really want to hear my own inner voice. I want to be able to do what my intuition tells me to do, because at the end it knows best what is best for me. So every single day I train my intuition. I do little exercises to yeah, really understand what intuition feels like to me, what my intuition looks like to me, because it looks different to everybody. But yeah, I do my best to every single day train it and get a clear understanding of my intuition and my inner voice. I also realized that witchcraft, rather than being a hobby like it was in the beginning, really became a lifestyle, and it's not something that I have to think about doing every single day. I started putting the magic into every single corner of my life, and so every single day I try to fill up my day with magic as good as I can, and I don't need to think about when can I do like magic or like what should I do today. I really try to just make it a lifestyle and embody a witch every single day, and I just really love it, like decorating my life and everything in this life, whimsical and magical, is just so much fun. So this is another big part of my practice that I feel like is really important to mention. Now, another really big part of my practice, and if you have been watching this channel for a while, you know what's coming now, is the wheel of the year, seasonal living, and just really doing my best to live in alignment with the natural rhythms and seasons. And I just found that living with the wheel of the year was again such a big doorway and gateway that opened up my love for like herbalism and being a green witch. I feel like the green witch is like, if I had to put a label on myself, it would probably be the green witch, but this is such a big part of myself, and like starting to understand the wheel of the year and like starting to live with it was such a big gateway for who I am today. And I just have so much fun celebrating the Sabbats and just going outside, foraging, like enjoying now the calming down in autumn and winter, the quietness, and then in spring it will be outgoing again and like this huge awakening. I just got such a big insight into nature. Every single year I understand a layer more of the seasons and of nature. I just really love the wheel of the year and seasonal living, and I just have so much fun living by it. And also I started to see the elements as allies and not as forces that I need to control, because I feel like when you start out with witchcraft, a lot of information will tell you that you can like direct and manipulate the elements. And like due to my shamanism training, I just realized that they all have spirits and I can work with them. And when I like do my best to cultivate this relationship, they can support me and be my ally. And so working with the elements has also been such a big part of my practice. But yeah, this is kind of how my witchcraft practice has evolved over the time. And if this video was helpful for you, then please don't forget to do the YouTube magic, like and hype this video. This really shows the YouTube fairies that they can recommend my content to more people. Comment down below how your witchcraft practice has shifted over the years, or maybe you're just starting out. Then let us know that as well. Share this video with someone who may right now experience frustration and confusion, just as I had in the beginning. And yeah, again, subscribe to our community. And we will hang out again this week, because no, next week. Today is Tuesday. So we will hang out again next week, and I really hope you have a beautiful, magical week, and see you then. Bye bye.